These days there is a lot of information in books, in the internet, basically everywhere. And the key to winning games for grandmasters, even against amateurs, is basically trying to get into a good or pleasant middle game or end game, because the gap of information has basically been closed. Unless you are a super grandmaster, then of course you have access to other resources than the usual amateur player. However, in the game we're going to look at Grandmaster Vlastimil Jansa, which is who is already a little bit older, plays an amateur with a rating gap of over 300 elo points. So Vlastimil Jansa is by far the favorite, and what he is going to show is a very beautiful idea in the Rossolimo from the white side, where he just crushed his opponent in a couple of moves, in 13 to be precise. If you want to learn some tactical ideas, make sure to stay until the end. So this being said, let's just go to the game. Grandmaster Vlastimil Jansa starts the game with first e4, black plays c5, the Sicilian, knight f3, knight to c6. Now white has a choice between going into the open Sicilians and probably a Sveshnikov or accelerated dragon with g6. However, white decides to go for an anti-Sicilian, bishop b5, the Rossolimo. Now the question is what black should play, and most black players here play g6, especially the very strong players like Carlsen, Caruana, and so on. And here usually white takes on c6, gives up the pair of bishops, and damages the structure of black. So black has either to recapture with the b-pawn, and then has the structure with the double pawns and the d-pawn on d7, or with d takes c6, which is more often played in this position, and then we have this damaged pawn structure. But as mentioned, black has the pair of bishops, maybe some accelerated development because this diagonal just opened by regaining a piece. So both players are basically happy about what they have achieved, otherwise they wouldn't play this position. However, in the game, Jansa chose to play another plan, or other plans. Just castling, not damaging the pawn structure, but not giving up the pair of bishops. And this guarantees very often a more dynamic play, because the other line where white gives up the pair of bishops is rather static. So bishop to g7, very logical, c3, and now e5. And now there is a very trendy move which was played by Vlastimil Jansa, and this is d4. At first it looks like a pawn sacrifice, and it is a pawn sacrifice, but what does white gain, or why does he play it? Well, it's pretty easy. White has developed two pieces, black has developed two pieces, but white has already castled and the king is safe. And black's king is still in the center, because black has played 3 pawn moves, just like white, but he's a tempo down and has developed the knight to c6, not the knight on the king side. So this pawn sacrifice is absolutely justified. And usually black captures twice with a pawn on d4 and then gets this structure. Black is a pawn up, but it's an isolated double pawn, so this isn't worth much, and black is lacking in development. So usually follows bishop f4 and then a6, bishop a4, knight ge7, then bishop d6. For example, b5, bishop b3, bishop b7, knight g5, and now we see the idea. It's actually putting pressure on f7. Black just castles, defends f7 a second time, and then comes the queen to f3, attacking this pawn a third time. So black needs to defend it a third time with queen to e8, and the position is about equal. However, in the game, the black player played knight takes d4. This is a rare move. However, it has been played by Super Grandmaster Naidic, very strong player, and former FIDE world champion Ponomariov when he was younger. So this move should be absolutely playable. However, Black in the course of the game just completely mishandled this position, and it's far from easy, because these type of positions usually require a high understanding of chess. So White continued with knight takes d4, e takes d4, then followed bishop f4, still the same moves, but we can see that this knight here is gone, and the queen is free to move to g4 if it likes to, or f3. Queen to b6 played, and this is already the losing move, believe it or not, but Black is lacking so much in development that he's already lost. So the normal move here should be something like knight to e7, then might follow knight d2, Black castles, bishop d6 again, then a6, bishop d3, b5. And White is slightly better. However, the move queen b6, as mentioned, loses. Try to figure out a way how to protect this attacked bishop. I will give you a couple of seconds and then we will continue. So the solution here is knight to a3. Have you found this move? Let me know in the comment section. So after knight a3, why does Black not play a6? Well, it's pretty easy, because of knight to c4. And now the queen is attacked, and if the queen takes on b5, then there's knight to d6, check, and this is a fork. Forking king and queen, very unpleasant. The knight cannot be taken, so the queen is lost. Black gained bishop and knight for a queen and has a completely damaged pawn structure and is completely losing. So this is just hopeless. In the game followed knight to e7. Still, White continues with knight to c4. So what Black is basically saying is that he doesn't care about a6 being played or not, because d6 is still super weak, and if you check on d6, there's also this attack on f7. So queen to c5 played, and this position is already lost, so we are not going to take a look at alternatives because the ideas are always the same. Knight d6 check, king f8, and now the final blow, which made Black resign immediately. Queen to b3. This is attacking f7. So Black is up a pawn. It's an isolated double pawn, so not very worthy. And additionally, there's this threat of checkmate, and Black can only play knight to d5 if he wants to continue the game, and here White could just force the exchange of pieces, and here he's just up a knight for basically nothing, because this pawn is super weak and will be lost anyway. This king is super badly placed, so a very bad position for Black, but very typical for these openings. If White wishes, he can go for these dynamic lines with d4. Although this line is equal, it's very tricky to play. But not only from the Black side, but also from the White side. In this game, however, there was a rating difference of over 300 points. Actually 350 elo. So a very big gap and a beautiful display of the ideas by Vlastimil Jansa. Let me know what you think about this game. Thank you for watching as always. If you want to see more of such videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it. See you.